What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Of course, you know it's your boy B-High Radio. Shout in, stepping in the building. I got a friend and family member to the show, Markuann Smith. What's good with it, boss?
What up, B-High? I'm here, baby.
Man, I appreciate you putting up on the player.
Sure,
now,
man.
I mean, Markuann as EP, Godfather of Harlem. One of the biggest shows out right now, sir.
Appreciate
season
that,
after season after season in this thing. How you feeling with the success that y'all done had so far?
Oh man, we didn't see it coming from anywhere, bro. Like you know, I believed in it, you know, but you know, we had to sell, like we had to get on some player shit and sell ice to Eskimo. You know what I'm saying? So for real, but you know, we did it. You know, we got turned down by 3 networks. I remember the journey, man. Like just hitting these different networks from Netflix to Apple to Stars, and no one believing in the dream that we had, you know, with the pleasure of working with my big brother Forrest Whitaker and Jim Atchison and
Come on.
R.I.P. Paul Eckstein and Chris Brancato and Nina Yang Bon Jovi. We were able to get it done.
Okay, so from conception to reality, I mean, what was this, you know, idea conceived at, and what was that like when y'all said, okay, we're going to do this Bumpy Johnson story in this thing?
Well, you know, we could take it back, man, so you can listeners know, like, it started for me over 18 years ago.
Yeah.
And this is before Forrest and Jim and Paul and Nina or anyone was involved.
Yeah.
So I used to go up to Lenox Terrace. Lenox Terrace is it's a pristine apartment development in Harlem.
Yeah.
If any of your listeners are from Harlem, they know Lenox Terrace back in the days, actors, politicians, athletes all lived in this complex.
That's right.
So I used to go up there and visit my godmother. My godmother, her name is Margaret Johnson.
Okay.
Now, Margaret Johnson, if you're familiar with Godfather of Harlem, she's played by Demi Singleton. That's my little sister. She played Serena Williams in King Richard.
Yeah.
Right? So Margaret used to tell me these magical stories of Harlem back in the days, how she used to walk out of a tenement building and smell fresh laundry hanging out the window. Or walk past 125th Street and see James Brown's name up on the marquee. Or walk past Sugar Ray Robinson's barbershop, you might see his pink Cadillac sitting outside.
My God.
Peep inside, you may see Nat King Cole getting a haircut, Jackie Wilson waiting to get a haircut. Or even walk past a stoop and hear Sam Cooke's voice coming out the radio.
Yeah.
Right? But she also told me how African Americans migrated from the South, coming up north. Regardless if you went to D.C., if you went to Philly, if you went to Newark, they were trying to escape Bull Connor's water hoses and his dogs, but they were still facing racism up here. So, you know, she used to tell me stories of how to even go purchase a hat, a simple accessory is a hat, the store owner may say, yo, you need to put a shower cap on your head. Because I don't want that hat to touch your black scalp. Or a father of 5 working hard all week decides to take his family for a steak dinner, and the restaurant owner says, nah, you can't eat with the rest of the patrons. You got to leave.
That's right.
We'll give you some food to go, but you can't sit here.
Yeah.
But she also told me about her grandfather. Her grandfather is from Charleston, South Carolina. 1905, October 31st is his birthday, Halloween.
Yeah.
And the streets know him as Bumpy Johnson, but his name is Ellsworth Raymond Johnson. And he didn't come up to New York City to become a gangster. He actually came up to New York to become an attorney like Malcolm X. But when he went to City College and he asked the bursar for financial aid, and they found out Ellsworth Raymond was attached to a black man, financial aid was dead. They didn't give it to him.
Yeah.
So he took the cards that he was dealt with in life, played it the best hand that he could, and that's how Bumpy Johnson became. Now, Bumpy is the first African-American that sat down with the 5 gangsters, the 5 roots of the La Cosa Nostra, our thing, from Maya Langsy to Bugsy Siegel to Lucky Luciano to Frank Costello to Vito Genovese. Bumpy wasn't just a gangster, he was also a philosopher. He read Nietzsche, he read Shakespeare. There's even rumors that he beat Bobby Fischer in chess. I mean, he was a thinker.
Yeah.
You got to think about this. Bumpy was locked up in Alcatraz, and he graduated all the colleges and went to the big house.
Yeah.
So from Dannemora to Attica or wherever he was locked up, but he ended up in Alcatraz. So he was locked up with the worst of the worst, from the Al Capones of the world to the Machine Gun Kellys. So Bumpy was known all throughout the country. So in a nutshell, I promised her that I would go out there and get the story of who her grandfather was.
My God.
And make it happen.
Hey, man, that's a beautiful ass story. That's a good ass story.
Yeah.
Okay. Also on the show, though, y'all touch on Bumpy's relationship with Malcolm, though.
Yeah.
Speak on that. What did she have to say about that? And then what was that like for y'all reconstructing all of that?
When she used to tell me the stories of, Bumpy wasn't a person, when you hear the Frank Lucas version and you watch American Gangster, Bumpy didn't die in an electronics store talking about Pepsi was the best product, and blue, and my stamp is Blue Magic. Nah, it wasn't that,
Yeah.
Bumpy actually died in my character's arms. I play a character by the name of Junie Bird.
Yeah.
So, back to your question, Margaret used to tell me how Malcolm used to come up every Sunday and play chess. And how Bumpy used to tease him and say, hey, maybe making some bacon today. You want some bacon? And, Malcolm was Muslim.
Yeah.
But you have to also understand, let's take Malcolm out the picture and go back to Detroit Red.
Yeah.
Or go back to Malcolm Little. Malcolm was on the streets.
Yeah.
He was a pimp. He was on drugs.
Yeah.
So their paths collided.
Yeah.
And from my recollection, talking to Margaret, she used to tell me that Bumpy really loved Malcolm.
Yeah.
He really loved him. When he passed away, he made every store owner in Harlem pay for his funeral.
Yeah.
So it made sense that we do a story that wasn't just a mob story, but we called it, in our pitch, the collision of civil rights and the underworld. Because think about it. You have to have interesting characters, right?
That's right.
You know why people like Tony Soprano? Because they never saw the relationship with a mobster and his therapist.
Exactly.
You know why people like Walter White? Because you're talking about a chemistry teacher that can't afford medicine for his deadly disease, so he starts to sell what? Meth.
Come on.
So these are the stories to me that really make sense.
What was it like putting that whole crew together, though? How did y'all get Forrest down with everything?
Yeah. So starting for me, it was a big journey for me. Give you a little backstory. I was working at BET for 16 years.
Yeah.
Hated it. Hated it. But I had to work there, right?
Yeah.
I had to work there for other reasons.
I feel you.
You feel what I'm saying?
I feel you. I done been there.
Yeah, I had to stick my head out. Probation officer, you got a job? Yeah, I got a job. You know what I'm saying? So after I left BET, I was there for 16 years. And they started merging. Viacom bought BET in 99, 2000. And I was working there, and I was just looking at the cubicles and just like doing monotony. And I hate the monotony of.
Yeah.
I always wanted to work up doing what I want to do, not what I have to do.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you.
And I tell people all the time, you could chase your pension or chase your passion. It's up to you.
Yeah.
I decided to chase my passion.
Oh, so that's a good one. I'm with you.
So 16 years I'm working, and I got let go, and they gave me $4,000 in severance. So I had to figure it out real fast, you know. And I was a kid from the streets, so that's all I knew back then, and I didn't want to turn back into that past. So I had this project on my heart for so long. I had a conversation with call him my uncle, Bernard Alexander. Bernard, if people know Bernard is a manager. He's like the Ray Donovan. He puts plugs together, right? Eric Sermon's best friend.
Okay.
Family member to me.
Yeah.
And he knew I had this story for a while, and he was working on American Gangster with Antoine Fuqua at the time, and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So I kept pushing and pushing and pushing. He was like, "Hey, I want to introduce you to somebody." So I met Jim Atchison. Jim is my other partner.
Yeah.
So I spoke to Jim on the phone. I say, "Hey, Jim, I got this story about a gangster from Harlem named Bumpy Johnson. Never met Jim." Jim's like, "Yeah, I know who Bumpy is. Hold up, let me get my other friend on the phone, Jay Cohen." Big shout out to Jay. He works at Gersh
Yeah.
And they were talking about like they knew Bumpy Johnson, but Jim later told me I didn't know who Bumpy Johnson was. I had to look him up, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm just a white boy from Boston, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, Jim flew in to meet me with his wife Joanne Colano, who's like my older sister, and his son Luca, and I brought him up to meet Margaret at Lenox Terrace. Margaret saw 3 white people walk in her apartment and said, "Markuann, you're bringing the feds up here. The hell is wrong with you?" You know what I'm saying? And after we got off that, little pothole, got through that pothole, you know, she sat down and she fell in love with Jim, Joanne, and Luca, and she was just, you know, pouring out her heart to them about the story.
Yeah.
Took Jim to Sylvia's, and we had some good old soul food.
That's right.
And Jim was like, "Yeah, we got to get this story done."
My God.
So he flew back out to L.A. after just talking for a while on the phone and said, "Hey, how would you feel about Forrest Whitaker playing Bumpy Johnson?" So I hung up the phone because I'm like, "Yo, whatever, man." Yeah. Now you trying to play the 52 fake out with me, man. Come on, man. So he called me back. He started laughing. He's like, "No, seriously, because Forrest is about to come over." And I didn't know that his wife is one of the biggest Hollywood managers, and she managed Forrest.
Yeah.
She manages Norman Reedus, Andy Garcia.
Yeah.
You know, she manages a lot of people, and he ran it by Forrest, and Forrest was like, "Yeah, this is a good project." He said, but Forrest didn't attach himself to play Bumpy. He attached himself to produce it. And then when Forrest met me, he took me under his wing like I was his little brother.
My God.
And the journey started. So we were looking for a writer, just looking for a writer. So one day, I was up late at night reading some spec scripts because I was getting samples from WME, from UTA, from CAA, Gersh, you know, and it wasn't just hitting the writer.
Yeah.
And I'm a gangster aficionado, so I love to like watch gangster movies. So I was looking through my IMDb, and I saw Hoodlum.
Come on now.
And Hoodlum is the first Bumpy Johnson project that I seen that went to the big screen.
That's right.
It was Bumpy, pre-Bumpy, 1920s, 1930s with Madam Sinclair.
Yeah.
And Lawrence Fishburne, Vanessa Williams, Cicely Tyson.
That's right.
Played, Lawrence played Bumpy. And I looked at the writers and it said Chris Brancato and Paul Exton. So I called my partner Jim. I said, "Hey, you know Chris Brancato?" He said, "Chris, the writer. He lives right across the street. Joanne makes, a big Italian meal for and invites him and his family over every Sunday."
My God.
I said, "Well, he knows the lay of the land because he did Hoodlum."
Yeah.
He's like, I said, "He also did Narcos." He said, He said, "Let me talk to him." So he reached out to Chris.
Yeah.
And Chris said, "I did Bumpy Johnson. We did that back in 98, 99, whatever it was. Maybe 90, maybe earlier than that." But I'm working on a project called Las Sirenas. It's a pilot that's being hopefully bought for CBS, so I won't be able to do it. I was like, all right. So Jim called me back with the news. I said, "What about Paul, his other partner?"
Yeah.
Jim said, All right, let me call back Chris. And Chris said Paul was like, "I would love to work on this." Get kind of emotional because Paul just passed away a couple of months ago.
My God.
So Paul reached out and flew out to New York City.
Yeah.
We sat down, we talked, and I thought I was going to see this. His last name is Eckstein, like a Jewish last name. I thought I was going to see this guy with a yarmulke and curly, talking to me, And he's mixed. His mother was mother's black, father's Jewish.
Okay.
And greatest person I ever met. And he said, "Yo, I would love to do this."
Yeah.
And Bumpy put my grandmother through secretarial school.
Okay, now.
And we grinded it out, man, for 6 months, just grinding. I tell people that I A lot of people want success.
Yeah.
But are you ready to eat a tuna fish sandwich?
Come on now.
Are you ready to eat ramen noodles?
Facts.
Are you ready to sleep on somebody's floor because you can't afford a hotel for that night, so you need to humble yourself?
Exactly.
Are you ready to say, hey, yo, B-High, you got to hook up on buddy passes?
Come on.
Because I need I got to fly out.
Yeah.
And I got a meeting at Netflix Monday morning. And I can't afford a regular flight. So I'm willing to wait to see if I can find a seat on that plane.
Yeah.
That's my life. You know, so I tell people all the time, don't look at my glory before you know my story.
Thanks.
You know what I'm saying? So Paul grinded it out with me. I mean, I remember flying back and forth to L.A. broke, sleeping on his garage floor, dog licking my face. You know what I'm saying? Papers everywhere. I think it was about 5 months later, Chris was like, you know what? All right, let's do this. His El Chapo project didn't get picked up. He wasn't working on Narcos anymore and Las Sirenas, so he was like, he had some time.
Yeah.
And Chris said, the way we're going to do this, we're going to tell post-Bumpy, an older black gangster coming home in his 60s and the world that he's facing.
My God.
And that's how Godfather of Harlem came to be, and we just started shopping it, man. We was shopping it everywhere. I remember we went through about 14 or 15 drafts before we got a script that Forrest is like, okay, I like this. And remember, Forrest is not committed to play Bumpy yet. He's just committed to produce it.
Yeah.
And we had to get that green light. And I remember we went out with this in around Halloween, November. And it's the worst time to go out with a project because of the holidays.
Yeah.
And we needed Forrest's okay. And we couldn't get in contact with Forrest for like 2-3 days. And it was like, where's Forrest at? Joanne didn't know where Forrest was in Egypt.
Oh.
So he said, yes, absolutely. I would love to play Ellsworth Raymond Johnson. And we took it out the shop, man. We went everywhere around the town. You know, we got turned down by some of the big streamers, Netflix, you know.
Yeah.
Stars. Chris Albert turned us down twice.
Yeah.
Apple. They didn't see the vision. And, you know, everybody's not going to see your vision, you know. They told me that this is urban. I said, what about Black Panther? So, well, that's an anomaly, you know.
Come on, y'all.
They didn't believe that, you know, we would sell foreign sales would be up, you know.
Yeah.
But we had a great studio behind us, which was ABC Signature and Tracy Underwood and Pat Moran. Shout out, he was the president at that time, that said, you know, it felt so good to be in a room and everybody's pitching with us.
Yeah.
Forrest is right here. Chris is right here.
Yeah.
Jim's right there. Tracy Underwood's right there. Pat Moran's right there. Nina's right there. You know, Jim, Paul, we're all just pitching together. And it was a journey, man. We was like 300 going out there, you know what I'm saying? Like Leonidas, like against, you know. And I remember coming back after they turned us down, and I was real depressed, man. I'm looking out my window, and I'm seeing the New York skyline. I'm like, yo, damn, what's next?
Yeah.
This has to work. I don't believe in having a plan B.
Yeah.
I have to have a plan A. If you have a plan B, I believe myself that you're already planning to fail with a plan B. Yeah. And I remember getting an email from my my showrunner and producer who said, well, this was a noble failure. I was like, what the fuck? Am I King Arthur or some shit? Talking about a noble failure. What the fuck is a noble failure? Man. What type of Shakespearean shit is in this email?
Yeah.
And I kid you not, bro.
Nobody got time for Shakespeare. But we going through it out here, okay?
I'm going through this shit, right? And I'm on the couch, and I get an email, and he says, hey, because he's big on telling people to manage their expectations, right?
Yeah.
Very big on that. He was like, listen, there's another network. It's called Epics. It's a small network, but the junior agent at WME says there's a new president by the name of Michael Wright. Big shout out to Michael Wright, who just left, I think it was TBS. No, he left Amblin Entertainment, Steven Spielberg's company.
Yeah.
And he wants another Narcos. And we're sending him the script. A couple of days later, he loves the script. We're going to have a meeting. But Markuann, don't get excited. Don't get excited. You better manage your expectations.
I'm with you.
Sounded like a wounded domestic violence woman. I was like, don't get excited. I'm like, yo. And
I'm with you.
I'm sitting on the couch again at my mother's house this time because they have a meeting.
Yeah.
And I couldn't afford to get out to L.A., man. And Paul.
That's kind of stressful. So I mean, now you know damn well you needed to be in that meeting.
Yeah.
And you sitting at home looking crazy.
And my mother.
What was going through your mind at that time?
Listen, I got a haircut. My mother was like, "Baby, maybe you need to try something else." I looked at my mother like this with the illest grill. I was like, man, if you don't. So I left my phone in the car on purpose because I was just tired of being disappointed.
Yeah.
And they were in the meeting, and I got the phone and saw that I had 6 missed calls from Forrest.
Oh.
And then Forrest is like, he said, Markuann, why you not picking up your phone? Are you ready to play your part? We just sold it in the room. Man, I went upstairs, saw my mother. I was like,
I'm with you.
Oh! She's like, oh. Now you want to scream and everything. Now you want to know
what's next.
Yeah, what's next? When's the premiere? I got to get my dress and my shoes. But, you know,
Woo!
It just shows you that I tell people, never give up, man. Yeah. I may sound cliche, but it's the truth.
Yeah, those are facts.
If you believe in yourself, only enemy you have is yourself, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Forget what everybody else says, you know?
I agree.
We sold it in the room, man, but we still had to figure out budget-wise, and, you know, because when you're dealing with an urban show, a.k.a. black, yo, we gonna give them peanut butter and jelly instead of steak and shrimp. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, while the film guys, we created a great show, man.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Chris Brancato for writing. You know, Michael Payne's, Forrest, God bless the dead, Paul, who I know is looking down right now, R.I.P. And he was able to see 3 seasons and his dream come true.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just a great show, man. I always wanted to create a show that's a conversation piece.
How did Bumpy's granddaughter feel about it all?
She passed away before even, she passed away in 2016. I just took the torch and I just kept going. I made her a promise. She told me that she was going to transition soon.
Yeah.
Because she was really, you know, Margaret was very, she was hard-headed. She was stubborn. She really had a Johnson blood trait in her. And I'm going to tell you a story. I'm not making it up. So Margaret used to ride around in this motorized wheelchair with this mangy dog with patches all over it, right?
Yeah.
And she used to have the wheelchair with the Mary Poppins card in the front.
Yeah.
Doing 20 down the block, 20 miles an hour down the block, right? And one hot summer, this dude tried to rob her. She went and pulled out her .357 and shot him in the ass. Like, boom!
Yeah.
Wheelchair, boom!
Yeah.
And he ended up going to McDonald's, leaking, hit him in the ass and the elbow.
Yeah.
Cops came. She was like, I was on my way to the gun range. So they took a gun from her, and your listeners could Google this. They call her Granny Oakley on the paper. The New York Post. They showed her with her Uzi. You know, so Margaret really was. If she loved you, she loved you. But if she didn't like you, she didn't like you. You
exactly.
know? So, yeah.
Okay, after getting that first season knocked out, though, man, what was that feeling, seeing the baby born that first year and then renewing that thing over and over and over again?
Well, I'll tell you this. I really knew that we had something. It wasn't even when the honey wagons and, you know, the caterers and everything was out there. It was when a Teamster walked up to me. And that's why I believe in striking. IATSE, SAG, AFTRA, the Writers Guild, WGA. I think they came to some type of agreement.
Yeah.
A Teamster walked up to me and said, Markuann, could I talk to you for a minute? And I'm like number 11 on the call sheet as an actor, but I'm number 1 as an executive producer. Right?
Yeah.
I said, sure, what's up, bro? He said, thank you for never giving up. I said, what you mean? He said, for you not giving up allowed me to feed my family for the next 6 months.
My God.
So that's when I knew that I was like, wow, this is surreal. And,
Exactly.
you know, I've always wanted to, like I said, I like to make history cool, so I brought on Swiss Beats. Big shout out to Swiss. Swiss is executive music producing, is doing his thing.
Going crazy, yeah.
Doing his thing, man. Big shout out to
What
Swiss.
was that conversation like when you got Swiss on board, though?
Well, a big shout out to all the producers out there, because we had a few producers we were looking at, but I'm the youngest and the only African American executive producer now that Paul has passed away, other than Forrest.
Yeah.
And you'd be so bugged out that a lot of these folks are not in tune with the culture. So some of them may not even know who Jay-Z is. I know you probably like, what you mean nobody knows Jay-Z? Well, think about this. Would you know an Asian billionaire if he walked past you?
Come on.
Well, either Asian lady or Asian man, because that's their culture.
Exactly.
They didn't know the culture. So there was a lot of producers they were looking at, from the Mike Wills of the world to DJ Mustard.
Yeah.
But I was like, we need that gritty New York feel. You feel what I'm saying? And I love Mustard. I love Mike Will. You know what I'm saying? But we needed that gritty New York feel. And I said, we got to get Swiss.
Yeah.
And Swiss, man's been doing an amazing job. I remember when we did the theme song.
Yeah.
With Ross and God Bless the Dead DMX.
Come on, man.
And when we heard that, we was like, we know we got it. Grady was like, yo, we got one right now. Big shout out to Grady, you know what I mean? And it's just a beautiful thing just to see so many creators in a room.
Yeah.
You know, in one studio you got Dave East. Yeah. Another studio you got Rick Ross.
Come on.
Another studio you got DMX. Another studio you got Jendea. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like just an amazing thing, man.
How do you feel like that added to the overall show as well, though, bringing those entertainers into it that don't play around at all?
Well, I always wanted this to be a show that attracted every demographic.
Yeah.
So it ain't just your aunt or your uncle or your grandmother or your grandfather say, yeah, baby, I remember them days right there, yeah. The white man had, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to bring another demographic as well. So that was a way to do it, to get in tune with the culture and bring that contemporary in. You feel what I'm saying? Because I wanted to show, I don't know, growing up, everybody watched The Cosby Show as a family. You feel what I'm saying?
Facts.
So I wanted a place where everybody can watch together. You know what I mean?
Now.
So I think, big shout out to Epic Records and Sylvia Rohn and Zeke up there. Like, they did a great job of being able to bring both cultures together, both demographics.
Exactly. How much research did y'all have to do for the story?
I did all the research, bro. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Because nobody knew who Bumpy Johnson was, right?
What?
So I did it with a friend of mine. His name was Tony Gentry. We went down to the Schomburg Museum.
Yeah.
And I was just going through microfilm, eyes burning, and just going through everything that I could. And it's not really that much on Bumpy.
Yeah.
So I had to we had to dig and dig and dig. But I wanted to make sure that when I came into the writer's room and I had writers that might not have been familiar with that topic, that here, I bought you a plate of food. So now you guys can go through it and add the seasoning.
Come on now.
You know what I'm saying? And add whatever flavors that you wanted. So it was really a tedious job to go out there and get it done.
How did you feel about the reception of the show, though? I mean, y'all 3 seasons in this thing now.
Oh, man, yo. To get my NAACP nomination.
Come on now.
To get another NAACP nomination, to getting an Emmy for the best title track.
Come on.
Oh, man, it's an amazing thing. And I go around talking to at-risk youth, and I just came from Kansas City. They gave me a proclamation. They gave me my own day out there, May 5th.
Yeah.
So it's just an amazing thing because people love the show. You know, they love the storylines. I love the troll on Facebook and see people arguing with each other like, God damn, Adam Clayton Powell, do that. You know, Malcolm X, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I hate Elise. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, it was like, it's a conversation piece.
My God.
So anytime you have a show that's a conversation piece, it's amazing.
Okay, for you though, Markuann, you know, you was sitting over there with mama, can't even fly out there. Now you talking about winning Emmys and all of this extra stuff.
Yeah.
That full 360 right there, where does your mind go when you think about where you came from to where you're at now and just the faith that it took to walk that walk?
Well, you know, the way I grew up at, man, I'll tell you, I grew up in Harlem, but I was raised in Far Rockaway, Queens. Far Rockaway, Queens is like growing up in the mud. It's like a little inlet, one way in, one way out.
Yeah.
It's the last stop on the A train. And I grew up around a bunch of New York City housing projects.
Yeah.
So I'm in Atlanta right now, but, you know, in New York, we have projects that are 13, 14 stories, 2,000, 3,000 people living in these buildings. And now imagine one building having a problem with another building. Y'all can't share at McDonald's or go get a slice of pizza or Kentucky Fried Chicken. That's the way I grew up.
Yeah.
And what I did, I used to just lock myself in a room and watch movies. One of my favorite movies is Once Upon a Time in America by Sergio Leone. I used to watch that. I used to watch Rebel Without a Cause, Casablanca. You know, The Maltese Falcon. You know, Taxi Driver, Raging Bull. You know, movies were like helped me drown out everything that was happening outside. White noise, you know.
Come on.
And I was able to see different directors and producers from Scorsese to Coppola. You know, to Brian Grazer. You know, I just loved watching movies and films. And my older brother, he's an artist by the name of Father MC.
Yes, sir.
So I remember they used to call him the Chicken Man because he worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken. So every break he'd come outside smoking a cigarette with flour all over him. And he'd be like, yo, I'm gonna be a rapper. People used to laugh, you know. And I was in and out of juvenile facilities. I was in I was a DFY kid, Division of Youth. So I was in Spofford, I was in Lincoln Hall. I was just headed down a wrong path. After you graduate from DFY, you go right to Rikers Island. After Rikers Island, you're going up north, you know? So my brother inspired me, and when he got his record deal, I remember we used to hop on the train and go to the New Music Seminar. You know, he'd have his silk shirt on, his Bally's, and we'd be on the train sharing 40s together. You know, his birthday was yesterday. Big shout out, big bro, happy birthday, September 26th.
Happy birthday, man.
And we used to just talk about life. And I remember watching Video Music Box and seeing treat them like they want to be treated. Seeing Puffy doing a Running Man in the video, you know what I'm saying? My man Fendi, you know, and I was like, wow. My brother said, now it's time for you to come on the road with me. So he took me around the country, around the world, and I was able to see a different way of living. You know, I've been to hoods from Chicago to Watts, to Cabrini Green, Robert Taylor houses when they was up, you know, to Compton, to the famous roller skating parties out there. You know, I was able to see the world, you know, D.C., New Haven, Connecticut, you know, Africa, you know, and that saved me because I was going down the wrong path. You know, a lot of my friends that I grew up with, they used to laugh at me because I was a roadie. So you know what a roadie is? We the first one off the bus, last one on. We used to carry these big coffins, 1,200 turntables. And on the road, I met one of my good friends who's no longer here. People know him as 2Pac Shakur. 2Pac was a roadie for Digital Underground. Tretch was a roadie for Latifah. So I was able to travel the road and just see the world, you know, just being on a tour bus, seeing the landscape pass me by. So that's what saved me.
What was it like running into a young Tupac at that time?
Oh man, 2Pac, man, was a real passionate cat, man. We were just two brown kids that was trying to be great, man. We used to complain all the time. He'd be like, man, I don't want to be dancing on stage with these Speedos on, man, doing a Humpty Hump. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, I don't want to be carrying these goddamn turntables, man. I want, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, we used to have these passionate conversations. Kids running the store, grabbing Cisco or Mad Dog 2020, and just sitting on a tour bus, just appreciating where we are, but just wanting to go so much further.
Come on now.
And that's how I am right now in life.
Did you think that he was going to go out as one of the greatest of all time at that time when y'all were just two kids trying to figure it out?
We were two kids, man, because you just never know, man. I mean, I knew Boyz II Men when they were just opening up for people. I knew Jodeci when they just had a a demo with just a white sticker on the tape, you know. I was on tour with Jasmine Guy, Rico Suave, Domino, Second to None, AMG, like, you know, so you just never know, man. You just never know. Like, you know, we just, you know, it's really about your persistence and how you want to be great, you know?
Answer me this, though, Markuann, because this is one of the things that kind of triggers me when I think about your story. Father MC, he was a young man when he blew up. Pac was a young man when he blew up. And then you getting your stuff as a grown man. I mean, what was that like, seeing all of that and having to wait your time, not knowing if it's ever going to really happen or not?
Well, you know what? I'm a person that, like I said, I don't have a plan B, you know? Everybody has their time. You know, I remember when, you know, I was in the movie Juice, I was in Poetic Justice, and I was just looking from the sidelines, just, you know, not jealous, just happy to be there, you know. My brother, remember, I was a teenager. I was a kid when I was on the road. My brother was in his 20s, I mean, his mid-20s, you know. So I seen it, and it prepared me, you know. You know, everybody gets their time later on, like, you know, if you work for it and just don't give up.
That's right. That's
you know,
right.
Some of my favorite stories are like people like Samuel Jackson, who was smoking crack behind the Apollo at 40-something years old. So look where he's at right now.
Come on.
Look at Charles Dutton, who came home from jail and went to Yale to study theater. You know, they wrote him off. Look at Tim Allen, your favorite white person, Home Improvement.
Home Improvement.
Got caught transporting drugs. Did 2 years. You know. Look at Eric Bishop, aka Jamie Foxx. You know. So everybody has their time. It doesn't matter if you got it when you were young or even older. You know what I'm saying? You're the only person that can stop you.
Exactly. Lastly, Markuann, what do you got coming down the pipe? And then what else do you want to tell the people that supporting you the whole time?
Oh man, I have a couple of projects that I'm working on right now. One project, can't really talk about it, but I'm excited, is with your actor's favorite actor, Joe Morton. And it's a story about resilience. It's the greatest comeback story ever. That's what I call it.
Oh my God.
I'm working on another project with a friend of mine, Dante Ross. Big music guy, you know, from back in the day, signed your favorite rappers, but he has a great project I'm excited about. You know, working with my boy Dorian Missick. Dorian is one of my good friends. We produce together, have a company together. Big shout out to Omar Dorsey, you know, from Queen Sugar. You know,
what up, though, Omar?
That's my people. Those are all my peoples, man. And you know, love is love. You know, Chad Coleman. You know, Orlando. You know what I'm saying? So it's just out here, just working, grinding.
How can folks contact you if they want to holler at you?
Oh, man, you can contact me on Instagram at MarkuAnn. That's my Instagram handle. And on Facebook, Markuann Smith.
Any Godfather of Harlem business that we need to know about?
Prepared, because when season 4 come, it's on and popping. It's hell up in Harlem.
Okay then, Markuann.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you coming through this thing,
Thank
man.
you, B-High. Appreciate the hospitality.
Success. No problem. I'm here for it. B-High Radio, shout out, Markuann Smith. Holla at y'all in a minute, man.
Let's do it.
We gone.